Alright, here's my 2022 show breakdown behind the scenes. So in the front I have these pixel sticks or stakes. There's 5 pixels per stick. All of these are running on one channel. Starts here, goes down, jumps over, and then comes back. They're on PVC, painted black, all joined together. And then back here I've got the arches, 100 pixels per arch, and then these pixel poles. So it'll come through here, come all the way down to those. And doing a couple power injection. Here's one of the power injectors. So I've got a couple different cables that came out here. Start down there, and then right here I've got a power only. So P29 power only. So that is basically one side is feeding the back end of this. The data continues to go through. That's on the green wire there. And then the other power is picked up and put in here. And then yeah, another power cable here. So this is data, and then this is power. And then I think I've got one more down here that does the same thing. So we come off of this arch into the bottom of this one, comes out of this one, and we've got data on the green wire that goes onto the next arch. But then I've got power, P33 and P32. P32 comes and basically backs into this one, and P33 feeds onto the new one. So this is on a separate power output on the power supply, and then it stops there. So I think it's 250 pixels per power injection is what I'm doing here. No power injection out there. So to get these onto the sidewalk, I ended up tunneling underneath the sidewalk and putting in some of these sprinkler valve covers. So I did that when I put in my downspout lines. So I dug under, and it was nice, so I didn't have to have any cable coming underneath or over the sidewalk. This is my 2-in-2 matrix. This is 200 pixels, not doing any power injection. I think I'm able to get by with that. For one, it's so close to the controller, and two, they're so dense that I don't have any like huge drops in power. I just kind of threw this together quick, and I'm gonna have to clean this up, but it worked out. I just scroll across my radio station. It worked really well, better than the sign that I had. So my controller then comes and feeds the house, does the garage outline, comes back. So yeah, I think it starts here, comes over, and then comes back and picks these up. And then the roof peak is on a separate channel. And then we've got another channel that does the lights all the way across the top. Another channel that does the windows, does the window, goes up and then back down, up and then back down, and then picks up this window. And then I do have power injection coming back to this one. Got another cable that comes up and starts at the window, does the window, and then comes back, picks this one up, jumps over, does this one, does the peak, comes over, does this one, comes down, and then this one comes back to here. No, that's power injection. So I am power injecting all of that is there as well. And then this is I don't know, I just kind of slapped this together this year. I used orange extension cord because it was really cheap, 100 feet for like $10, $12. It does stick out a little bit, but it worked well. These are like, you find these in the garden area for, like, you can tie plants to them. So I cut off those little bits, drilled all the holes for pixels. There are 17 pixels per pole, no power injection there, and they're a foot apart right now. And it was quick. It worked kind of cool because I could do like it's like a faux matrix type thing. So you could probably add a bunch of these. You could probably like do them in diagonals if you wanted to do that. They're just sticking in the ground. But I didn't touch them all season. They worked well and they stayed there. And then lastly, I come over to the controller. I only have one controller. I like to keep it pretty simple. My goal is to try to run everything from one. I imagine if I ever add a bunch more, but I did build this for expansion. So this is the F16V3. And what I did, I feel like this is a pretty common layout, but I've got 16 pigtails coming straight off the controller, and then 2 of these 8 boards that are doing power injection, and then I've got the HP power supplies. Those things have been troopers. They run this thing solid. So basically split in half. One side is run by one power supply, the other side is run by the other one. And I did this back kit. I did get it configured so I could put on the other 16 expansion, and then I left all my cables and center conductors available. So if I ever do decide to add on more channels, I can basically take these out, move these down to there, and now I can have 32 channels out versus the 16. But I load up my channels pretty heavy and have pretty good success with doing a little bit of power injection when I need to, and it seems to be working out really well. This is my 3rd year doing it with this configuration. I haven't changed anything since I built it. Just kind of adding some stuff out in the yard, and away she goes. I do use like a Wi-Fi smart plug to turn on and off the controller. Turn it on at like 4:45. Show starts at 5 o'clock and then runs till 10 p.m. and then it's done really well. So that is it for this year. So this is one trick that I've learned that I think works well to get by without having to use a ton of power injection. I could put a lot of lights on one run. Is I actually just T-tap my power to feed my run here. So this is my first arch. This is the power run from power supply, the controller. I took off data, but then just T-tapped the power. And what that allows me to do is, instead of having all of it being lost through the resistance and all the electronics in the pixels, it's able to stay down here at the heavy gauge wire. And so I'll pick up, like, all of these are all in one run, but then when it comes down to here, so I'll pick up this arch, or I'm sorry, this stick here. But this is the same cable that just came out of down there. Nothing hooked up to the power, or I'm sorry, the data. But then I'm grabbing power off of this. I had to put an extension in because I goofed up and made it too short. But then, well, I guess that's the power. That's the power for the next arch. And then data comes off of here. So that allows me to kind of run a trunk line, and I'll do that until I hit kind of that maximum 5 amps on the fuse, and then I'll do that. I'll pick up, you know, dedicated power run here that runs the next string, and it seems to work out pretty well. So for these, all I did is I got some like those fiberglass reflectors rods, or like, I think these are yeah, the ones with the like red stick on them, or the red reflector on it. I just, because they were like $2.50 a piece, so I just got a couple of those and then cut them down. They're like 18 inches or so. That slides over it perfectly. This stabs in the ground. When I go to lay this out, I measure down from this crack down to the distance that I have marked. Put a string and draw it all the way across here, tie it down over there, and that's how I know how to line everything up. I do the same thing with this. Just get like a mason string, get it all straight. That way I can make sure it all looks good in the yard. But little tip there. And then for these pixel sticks, or piece stakes, or whatever you want to call them. So this is the channel that came down. I T-tapped power, pulled off data, and then sent power on to do the back end. So I've got power coming in here, goes all the way down, comes there, comes all the way back, and then I'm feeding it back in to that direction. So basically I'm feeding the power down both directions. It probably meets in the middle somewhere, and works really well. So there's 20 sticks of 5 in each row, so 200 pixels, and not doing any power injection other than just kind of back feeding it that way. Works out really well. And then what I did for power, I just wired them like you would wire icicle lights. This is a bad example because this is the first one. So power and data comes up, goes back down, and I used Scotch locks for everything as the permanent install, and it works really well because I was able to do it really fast and get it done. So I used the 3 connection for power, but then only 1 for data. So the way this works is power comes in, data picks up, feeds the bottom, data comes up, power comes up, but then I'm only picking up data and bringing it back down. And then for power, so we can focus, I cut it at 2 different lengths, heated up some heat shrink, squeezed it on there, and I think that's what allows me to keep the power not going through the pixels as much as possible and just keep passing it through. Works out really well.